Hi, my name is Lily Tang Williams. Welcome to my Live Free or Die state.
A judge in Illinois just ruled illegal immigrants have the right to keep and bear arms.
Well, then the debate on gun control is over because I will never give up my guns.
In her decision, she wrote that Humberto Flores received and used the handgun solely for self-protection.
So my question to you, David, is that can you guarantee me a gun owner tonight?
Immigrant challenges gun control. A fiery debate setting, with emotions running high as two unlikely opponents square off on the hot-button issue of gun control. In one corner, you have David Hogg, a well-known advocate for stricter gun laws. And in the other corner, enter L.T. Williams, a Chinese immigrant with a story to tell. L.T. Williams isn't your average debater. She's lived through something that most of us only read about in history books, communism, and boy does she have some thoughts about it. So when the topic of gun control comes up, Williams doesn't hold back. She turns to Hogg and asks him a question that stops everyone right in their tracks. Can you guarantee that the U.S. government won't turn tyrannical? Now that's a question that hits home for Williams. Having witnessed the horrors of communism firsthand, she knows just how important it is for people to have the means to protect themselves against oppressive regimes. And let's be real here, when you've seen millions of people suffer under tyranny, you tend to take things like gun ownership pretty seriously.
Hi, my name is Lily Tang Williams. Welcome to my Live Free or Die state. Well, then the debate on gun control is over because I will never give up my guns. A Chinese immigrant who survived communism, and under Mao, 40 million people were starving to death.
But here's where things get interesting. While Hogg may be armed with statistics and sound bites, Williams brings something different to the table: raw personal experience. She's not just spouting off talking points. She's lived through the nightmare that she's talking about, and that gives her argument a weight that's hard to ignore. As the debate unfolds, it becomes clear that this isn't just a clash of opinions, it's a clash of worldviews. On one side, you have Hogg, who sees gun control as a way to prevent violence and save lives. On the other side, you have Williams, who sees gun ownership as a safeguard against tyranny and oppression. And in the end, that's what makes this debate so powerful. It's not just about guns, it's about freedom, safety, and the very soul of our nation. So as Williams and Hogg go head-to-head, they're not just arguing about policy, they're grappling with the fundamental values that define us as a society. And in that clash of ideas, we find the true heart of democracy, the freedom to debate, to disagree, and to fight for what we believe in. Tyranny and gun ownership. Imagine sitting down with L.T. Williams over a cup of coffee and listening to her story, a tale that's equal parts harrowing and inspiring. You see, Williams isn't just any ordinary storyteller. She's the survivor of one of the darkest chapters in history, communism in China. As she begins to recount her experiences, you can't help but feel a chill run down your spine. Williams paints a vivid picture of a time when millions of people lived in fear, oppressed by an authoritarian regime that ruled with an iron fist. It's a story of hardship, suffering, and the desperate struggle for freedom. But amidst the darkness, there's a glimmer of hope, a beacon of light that shines through the gloom. And that beacon? It's the belief that ordinary people have the power to stand up against tyranny, to fight for their rights, and to defend their freedom. For Williams, that belief is embodied in one simple idea: the right to bear arms. To her, gun ownership isn't just a constitutional right, it's a symbol of resistance, a bulwark against oppression, and a last line of defense against tyranny. And when she talks about it, you can hear the passion in her voice, the fire that burns deep within her soul. It's a passion born from the crucible of adversity, forged in the flames of oppression.
So my question to you, David, is that can you guarantee me a gun owner tonight? Never, never. And you should go to China to see how gun control works for dictatorship. Can you guarantee that to me?
There's no way I can ever guarantee that any government will not be tyrannical.
And tempered by the steel of determination. But more than just passion, Williams brings something else to the table: perspective. Her first-hand experience of living under communism gives her a unique insight into the dangers of unchecked government power. It's a perspective that's rooted in history, but also deeply personal, a reminder of the human cost of tyranny and the importance of remaining vigilant against its return. Echo chambers and accountability. Let's take a closer look at David Hogg's journey from social media star to debate dodger. In the world of online activism, it's easy to find yourself trapped in an echo chamber, a cozy bubble where everyone agrees with you and dissenting voices are swiftly silenced. And for Hogg, it seems like that bubble has become his comfort zone. When faced with the opportunity to engage in a real live debate on gun control, Hogg hesitates. Instead of stepping up to the plate and defending his views in the arena of ideas, he opts to stay safely within the confines of his Twitter feed, where he can control the narrative and avoid any uncomfortable confrontations. But while Hogg may be content to preach to the choir online, LT Williams has a different approach. She's not afraid to step outside her comfort zone and engage with those who hold opposing views. And when the opportunity arises to challenge Hogg face-to-face, she seizes it with both hands. The contrast between Hogg's reluctance and Williams' willingness to engage in genuine debate couldn't be starker. While Hogg hides behind his keyboard, Williams stands firm in the arena of ideas, unafraid to confront opposing viewpoints head-on. And in the end, it's Williams' willingness to engage that shines a light on the importance of accountability and open dialogue. In a world where echo chambers abound and misinformation spreads like wildfire, it's more important than ever to hold ourselves, and others, accountable for the views we espouse. The incident serves as a stark reminder that genuine progress can only be achieved through honest, respectful dialogue. And while it may be easier to retreat into our own ideological bubbles, it's only by engaging with those who hold different perspectives that we can hope to find common ground and move forward together. So let's take a page out of Williams' book and embrace the challenge of open dialogue, because in the end, it's only through honest conversation that we can hope to shape informed perspectives and build a better future for all. ATF allows gun ownership? The recent buzz around the ATF supposedly loosening restrictions on firearm purchases for undocumented immigrants has been making waves across social media platforms. But hold your horses. Before you start frantically scrolling through news feeds, let's break down the facts. According to a recent report by Melissa Golden, the claim that the ATF has updated its regulations to allow undocumented individuals to purchase firearms is about as accurate as a unicorn sighting in Times Square. The truth? There's been no such update. In fact, federal law explicitly prohibits individuals in the country illegally from purchasing or even possessing firearms. Christina Mastrapasqua, a spokesperson for the ATF, made it crystal clear in an email statement that the agency doesn't have the authority to change federal law willy-nilly. The Gun Control Act, passed back in 1968, firmly states that licensed gun dealers are forbidden from selling firearms to anyone unlawfully residing in the U.S., and no amount of wishful thinking or social media speculation can change that. But wait, there's more.
You can't just go after the supply of guns and pretend that the shooters don't need to be dealt with.
We would be there to provide technical assistance. Unlike you, I'm not a firearms expert to the same extent as you may be.
To enforce and to protect the community. Look, everything we do at ATF begins and ends with public safety. That's our role. We're the only federal agency with the sole mission of protecting people from violent crime.
Some online chatter even suggests a connection between this alleged ATF policy shift and recent changes in requirements for police officers in states like California, New York, and Chicago. However, a quick fact check reveals that these claims are as flimsy as a house of cards in a stiff breeze. In reality, the citizenship requirements for police officers remain unchanged in New York, dating back to at least 1909. While California did tweak its laws in 2022 to allow non-citizens to serve as officers, applicants still need federal work authorization. And as for Chicago, their website makes it crystal clear that U.S. citizenship or legal residency is a must-have for aspiring officers, with potential tweaks in the future. Recent ruling in Illinois. The recent ruling by U.S. District Court Judge Sharon Coleman of the Northern District of Illinois has ignited a fiery debate about the rights of undocumented immigrants when it comes to firearms. In a bold move, Judge Coleman dropped gun charges against Heriberto Caraballo Flores, an undocumented individual, citing his clean criminal record and the circumstances surrounding his arrest. The case revolves around Parabellum Bullet, who was found in possession of a handgun in the Little Village neighborhood of Chicago back in June 2020. Despite being in the country unlawfully at the time, Judge Coleman's ruling emphasized Parabellum Bullet's lack of a criminal history involving weapons and the nonviolent nature of his arrest. She argued that these factors did not warrant depriving him of his Second Amendment rights to bear arms for self-defense.
A judge in Illinois just ruled illegal immigrants have the right to keep and bear arms. In her decision, she wrote that Humberto Flores received and used the handgun solely for self-protection.
Where something that really seems counterintuitive, the idea that someone who's not here legally still has that right.
He arrested an illegal immigrant living in Chicago with a gun back in 2020. They charged him for violating the federal law.
However, it's worth noting that Parabellum Bullet was initially charged under Title 18 of the U.S. Criminal Code, which explicitly prohibits undocumented individuals from possessing firearms or ammunition. This decision to dismiss the charges against him has raised eyebrows and fueled further discussion about the intersection of immigration status and gun ownership. Parabellum Bullet maintained that he possessed the firearm for self-defense and protection of property during a period of civil unrest following the slaying of George Floyd in May 2020. Despite this, the legality of his possession of the firearm remains a contentious issue.
Case is just one of many challenging that federal statute that prevents illegal immigrants from possessing a firearm.
But I think it's very fascinating that this whole push towards expanding the deference to the Second Amendment,
especially in light of federal laws prohibiting undocumented individuals from obtaining firearms. The ruling comes at a time when gun control debates are already at the forefront of national discourse. That's all for this video, folks. See you next time.